Hello and welcome to the Vitality Project. My name is Dr. Evan Hughes, and today we're going to be talking about the healing rates of different cells. So what I mean by that is everyone who's worked out has experienced changes in their body that happen very quickly. For example, cardio or your wind tends to come up pretty fast versus your joints and particularly bone structure takes more time. And so the first tissue I tell people that changes the most rapidly is your musculature. If you work out or if you challenge the body will adapt change to your muscles the most quickly of all of them. Next on our list of basic structures to change would be the joints. Ligaments, tendons, joint capsules, things like the meniscus of the knee or the discs of the spine. Much longer period. If you could measure the healing time and the change of muscles, you'd measure it in weeks. Okay, particularly if you pull a muscle, you walk around funny for a few weeks, maybe a week, maybe a few days even, and the body will have a chance to correct it and heal it and bring what it needs. If you injure a joint, you're measuring it in months. The last one is the skeletal structure, the actual shape of the bones. Now, the principle of your bones changing shape is based on a thing called Wolff's Law. And all the anthropologists love this one because what they can do is they can dig up your bones several thousand years from now and they can tell all kinds of things about how your bones adapted to your life. But that is measured more in years as far as changing the morphology and the way that the structure deals with big words like the trabecular stress patterns and the periosteum. Neat words you can go look up later. These bones are last on the list, then it's the joints, and then it's the muscles. Now, one of the reasons it's important to make peace with these difference in healing times is one, if you become injured, which in my opinion is a part of being human. If you haven't injured yourself, you haven't pushed yourself, all right? Every athlete I know with a good story about their athleticism has an injury story and something they've overcome and become stronger after the experience from. But a knowledge of it being a muscle injury says, I will expect that it will be a few days, maybe a week or two, and my strength will come back. The primary reason, or the primary factor behind healing time is fuel. How much fuel the body can get to the cells that need to be replaced or repaired. And if you think about it, in the muscle groups, there's a lot of space there. There's a lot of pumping action by natural motion. There's a ton of arterial vascularization of the muscles, especially the large groups. And so the body can get a ton of fuel to the area. The cells get exactly what they need, and it's like a construction site where there's a Home Depot right next door, or a Lowe's, or a Concord Lumber. We're in Concord. It's right there, and so it's very quick to get everything that it needs. When you consider something small, like the muscles of the rotator cuff or the bursa of the shoulder, it's a smaller area that the body needs to get blood vessels to, and so it takes longer for it to get into the tissues. The body just needs more time. It's another aspect is how the tissue lends itself towards having blood vessels put through. The shoulder is an example because it's very complicated. There are nerves, blood vessels, lymph channels, muscles, tendons, a whole bunch of things that need to fit there. Not as much room for blood. Different from the thigh, which has a lot of room. Right? If you take something like the discs of the spine, you can't put a blood vessel into the disc of the spine. The discs are in between the individual vertebrae, stacked on top of each other. And as soon as the person stood up, they would squish the blood vessel flat. And so Mother Nature, being brilliant, said, we're going to work around the spine with the discs, with the blood vessels, and we're going to allow it to move in with a thing called imbibition. All right? So movement is a big key. Areas that move more easily also do this. It gets more complicated than that. When you have an injury, was it purely to the muscle or purely to the joint? And the answer is, it's never pure. Anybody who gets whiplash from a car accident or has a chronic pattern of working at their desk this way, it's going to involve their joints and the muscles and the bones. You should know that when you do something like chiropractic care to unwind the body and help it to heal naturally by increasing circulation and connecting it with the nervous system in a calm way that allows for healing, muscles are first. Then the joints begin to catch up and the muscles need to change as the joints change underneath. Finally, the skeletal structure, in accordance with Wolff's Law, will begin to fill itself in, but there's a constant give and take between all of these tissues. We have also all felt a slight difference in sensation from an injury to a muscle feels different from an injury to the joint. It's very difficult to describe sometimes, but if you listen carefully, you can start to get that feedback. Every athlete that's injured themselves a few times doing something like lacrosse or fighting, martial arts, etc., they've become a little bit of a connoisseur. Oh, that pain's a muscle injury. That'll heal quickly. That pain's a joint injury. I need to take it easy longer. So with this knowledge about fuel and this knowledge about how fast cells change, that bones are slower, ligaments in the connective tissue of the joints are a little bit longer than muscles, you can be a little bit more patient with yourself. You can allow yourself time to catch up with the right tissue in the right way. And as the sensation changes, you know that the body's healing different tissues in different rates. My name is Dr. Evan Hughes, and thank you for joining us for the Vitality Project.